All right, let's jump south now. Let's get it on the other side of the tracks. Let's talk about the West Loop.
Yeah,
So obviously everyone has seen that just develop like crazy, but can you give us that brief history of what's happened there over the last 10, 15 years?
yeah. So the West Loop, I mean, yeah, it's taken off in the last, I would say, probably 10 years. And a lot of it has to do with, the development in Fulton Market. So what sort of started the latest boom in the West Loop was when Google decided to build their offices there. And then since they built their offices, it was kind of a no man's land where they built them, but then stuff just started happening right around them. So it was a lot of these, one-story warehouses that were there, and there's still a lot of those there. And some of the big developers like Sterling Bay got involved, Shipak Partners got involved, and then I think there's Fulton Market Companies got involved. So some of the big developers in the city really accelerated that. And there continues to be a lot of multifamily there. You're not seeing too many condo developments anymore. And and then you're still seeing Class A office. So that's kind of what's happening in the West Loop is sort of everything is new. And you've got a lot of the big players that are focusing on it.
In your head, is it overbuilt, or are we getting to that point, or is there still room for growth?
I think there's still room for growth just because the neighborhood's not that big. I mean, if you look around the neighborhood, there's not that many vacant parcels left. Yeah, there's some of these one-story buildings that people are going to do stuff with, but yeah, I think again, compared to Lincoln Park, I think the West Loop is tiny compared to Lincoln Park in geography. So I think there's certainly a lot of opportunity there. I think the bigger opportunity in the West Loop is, again, as the neighborhood stretches west. So right now, the neighborhood boundary, sort of the unofficial boundary of Ashland, is kind of where the West Loop ends. But I think we're starting to see a push further west, kind of around United Center. And there's a big redevelopment of the Damon Green Line stop that's been going on that's supposed to be finishing up. So I think there's, multifamily opportunity in those areas if you can kind of be, hey, if I'm right by a new L station that can get me into the West Loop in one stop, well, this is where people are going to want to live once they can't afford the West Loop.
Yeah. Do you have clients looking on the other side there? I mean, I say the other side, west of the United Center. Someone, hey, I found something at California and Lake, right? Like, do you have
Yeah.
people already looking there? And what's your advice to them as you start to get a little more in the I'll call it skepticism there? It's not developed yet.
Yeah, I would say, I have clients look there every now and then, and I think they're just looking for opportunity. I mean, there's potentially still some foreclosure deals out there that you normally wouldn't see. But I think over there, yeah, they're looking for, they're looking for sort of they have a much longer hold period. So I think they're not the buyer that's like 2 years, 3 years, I'm going to sell this thing. I think they're thinking 10 years, 20 years. I think they also have to keep in mind that, hey, for the next 5 years, it may not be smooth sailing. Just depending on your tenants and kind of everything you've got to deal with being a landlord, in some of these areas.
What other any other risks of kind of west of Western that you see that you might advise people
on? I think I don't know if it's a risk, but it's sort of, you've got this big behemoth United Center. I don't know kind of what are the plans around that. I mean, are there plans that the city's gonna, or somebody working on, like, hey, let's try to turn this more into people right now only go to the United Center for games. You saw what they did with Wrigley. Kind of now you can go to Wrigley not just for the game, you can go for all the stuff around it. I mean, I feel like, I don't know if there's plans for it, but somebody should be working on, let's try to make the area surrounding the United Center more of a destination hub. But I don't know what kind of investment that's going to take. So I don't know if that's so much a risk as an opportunity. But knowing Chicago, that could take 10 years.